Today in the Autocar studios, we have Nitin Kohli, who's the new brand head of Volkswagen India. Nitin, welcome to Autocar. Glad to have you in our office. And also, you've just taken over Volkswagen from a long stint at Audi. So, just how the initial months been, going from a luxury premium brand to something which is much more mass market and with a lot more volumes to deal with.
So thank you, Hormazd, first of all, for having me here. I was very excited and looking forward for this interaction. Also, I must say that a lot of work that you are doing and your team is doing from the Autocar side onto the print space, the digital space, and most importantly, the podcast that I see
Happens right
almost
here.
it happens right here every weekend. I think that is something which is great. So
Thank you.
I really appreciate that. Coming to your point, yes, within the group, it has been very exciting. As a transition, I would say it is very high on energy, and the transition has been really smooth within the group because both the brand have synergies. And when I entered, it was the launch of the Golf GTI, and there could have been not a better welcome in the brand Volkswagen from Audi when I looked at the launch of the Golf GTI, and the same car got sold within 2 days of its launch. So I think that is
Amazing.
what the brand synergies are. And when I look at the team and the dealer network, I think it was a privilege working with them for the last 6 months, and they made the transition very, very smooth. So from I would say, the premium segment, the luxury space to the premium space, these are the synonymous things in terms of the design, the German engineering, the performance. However, the volume, the scale of the business
Is much bigger.
is much different, and that is defined by the industry.
Right.
So that is how the situation is, and I think we are doing well. On the Volkswagen side, the first half of the year has been really stable performance and good overall, and I look forward building on to the momentum from here.
Right. So, I just want to know, Nitin, what are your immediate goals in the sense that, obviously, would it be first to interact with the network, which is obviously far bigger than what there was at Audi, and, get to know your dealer partners, understand, what the customers are looking for, the nuances, maybe even in smaller towns where, there's more penetration with Volkswagen than there was with Audi.
So absolutely, I would put it this way that for me, the immediate goals are ACE, ACE. When I say A, it is the aspirational premium positioning of the brand. Volkswagen as a brand has clear attributes which are synonymous with German engineering, the performance and safety. And then comes C, which is the customer experience. The customer experience also has to follow the product. The uniform customer experience, not only at the sales touch points, but also throughout the customer journey. And then E, which comes to the engagement, internal engagement, and also with the customers. I start with the customers. That first engagement that I had was at the Golf GTI launch, and followed with the engagement that I had with the business partners of ours and also the team internally, and aligning the strategies, making our strategies, and then working on the execution of these strategies is the immediate goal of mine.
Fantastic. And, obviously, as you said, you've kind of hit the ground running, a good launch with the GTI, you've achieved your numbers. And now we've had the GST cuts, which obviously have really ignited the market. So just wanted to get your sense, on how it's been and, how do you see the market going forward? Obviously, there's been a fantastic response. Prices coming down has been historic. We've never really seen that. And do you think this momentum is going to continue, or do you think after Jan, when there might be some price revisions again, demand might kind of sort of flatten out again?
So I would put it this way that the GST reforms are one on simplification of the tax structures. You have sub 4 meter cars which are at a certain tax bracket,
Right.
and then you have the premium and the luxury space which are coming at a 40% tax bracket. Of course, the demand is overall growing because of these reforms, along with the simplification. And the sentiment in the market, along with the festivities, there could not have been a better timing to have this thing done. So
Exactly.
we see double the festive bonanza coming up in the dealerships. We have seen post 22nd of September, things getting much, much better. And this will continue because the overall sentiment in the market is positive. It is driven for medium and long-term growth. So that is what I personally see this, and we see this as a brand.
So good. So you see the momentum continuing medium, long term. But,
Yes.
coming to Volkswagen, Nathan, to be honest, looking at your portfolio with let's say the volume portfolio, you don't have any sub 4 meter products, and you just have two, one sedan and one SUV. I mean, do you think that puts you in a slightly disadvantageous position? Because really the benefit of GST also a lot from 28 to 18 on the sub 4 meter. They're really reaping the bonanza where, you don't have a product yet. So just to understand, with just these two products, how do you plan to grow in the market?
So Volkswagen today has 4 cars on the offering.
Yeah.
Two of that you mentioned, and then is the Tiguan R line and the Golf GTI.
But those are CBUs, which would be
Yes,
niche.
yes. So as I mentioned, the positioning of the brand is premium, and we work towards getting the brand in the aspirational side of the customer. Of course, as you rightly mentioned, that there is a segment that has become now more exciting with the GST reforms coming in, and we continuously work towards the new segments. At the moment, we work on ensuring that what Volkswagen brand stands for, which is the benefits that the customer gets and the resonation of the customer. The customer resonates the value of Volkswagen with the build quality of the car, the drivability of the car, and the safety of the car. We work towards those parameters and get new cars accordingly in the market.
Right. But as you said, the GST benefits a certain segment, the sub 4 meter segment. So clearly, I would imagine now that's something you would want to look at a little bit more closely, because it is a miss not having a product there. You had the Polo there, that's gone. So, I think, would it be fair to say that is a segment that you would want to be in?
So that is a segment where I would say it is the very exciting segment in terms of the overall space that the segment offers. And yes, we evolve along with the cars that we have today. Maybe in the future when we have the sub 4 meter coming in from maybe the group side.
Right. So, and now looking at, let's say, the sedan segment, Virtus is the market leader over there. Clearly, that's one position you have. What is your sense of the sedan segment? Because it seems to be declining. One sense is that, manufacturers are abandoning it, and that's why it's declining. But it does have a certain, let's say, a demand base. So, do you think the sedan segment can grow, or is your priority and target just to remain the leader in that segment? Yeah.
So there is a certain buyer for the sedan segment. And of course, you rightly mentioned today SUVs see the limelight, they see the growth. However, when I look at the sedan customers, they're clear of their decision of buying the car as purely the driving dynamics, a class that the sedan offers, the elegance that the sedan offers. And Virtus today, while SUVs are taking up the trend, Virtus is defying the trend of the declining segment of sedan. So we are doing almost 33% of the segment share in Virtus consistently also for the year 2025. That is the leading sedan segment as that you mentioned. I think it is worthwhile to invest in this segment where there is a customer who is clear of the purchasing decision. And if the product is positioned smartly, then I think there is a buyer for that segment and continue to evolve in that segment. And Virtus is a testament to that.
Yeah, another interesting point you said, a leader in a declining segment. So, do you think there are ways to arrest the decline, or let's say arrest your volumes in that sense? And do you think there's more headroom, because clearly between the Virtus and the next sedan, there's a massive price gap. Obviously, I'm not talking about launching a new model, but with, let's say, more upmarket or top higher end variants of the Virtus, there could be a space to kind of capitalize on.
Yes, absolutely. I think two ways to look at it. With the infrastructure getting better in the country, it was first the urban cities getting it. And if I was to just share with you, the areas which are tier 2 towns and tier 3 towns also, we see the voter sales significantly higher. And if the national average is about 33% plus, in those cities, we are almost 50-60% plus of the segment share. So that is one way that we see that the network helps in the cities. Other is also can we look at the segment, as I said, investment being worthwhile and do something different with the given car and then have some more offerings coming in the future for this car. So that is a task which remains with us and we will work towards it.
So what you're saying is, in the life cycle of the Virtus, there's a lot that can be expected, a lot of enhancements going further down in the next couple of months or years.
And that is continuous for all the products,
Right.
not alone the Virtus, but yes, we're talking on Virtus, but
No,
yes.
I know Tiguan definitely would be, that's a focus, but I'm saying from a sedan point of view, as you said, a lot of investment being put in. So I think it's quite clear what you're saying is that we will see a lot of product enhancements on the Virtus going forward.
Yes, so I think we are working on the sedan as with the other cars, and shortly you will hear from us in case there are changes coming up onto the Virtus. I'll keep it under the wraps at the moment.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. And, just turning to some of the niche models which you have. You've got the Golf GTI 100 models, 100 units. You had the Tiguan R line, not as successful, to be honest. You've got a CKD version of the Tyron coming. So just the strategy of these very niche models, because clearly they don't add too much to the volume, but from an image point of view, positioning point of view, how does that help?
So as I mentioned, the positioning of the brand is premium, and these are very important halo models for us. These models define the legacy of the brand. So when you look at the Golf GTI, 50 years of Golf, and then we got the car to the country. And that is what resonates well with the customers who know the brand Volkswagen, and that is what they want to ask for. So during the launch of the Golf GTI, there were many customers who mentioned, I've been waiting for the car for 5 years, and honestly, it's late. And I agree with the customers there, because this car, when it came in, and the first lot came in, was sold, and then we had to get the second lot of the car. So that is what defines that India is ready for these cars. Yeah, we also check for the niche models coming in, and likewise with the Tiguan. So Tiguan, we have, as you understand, it's a FPU car. It is meeting our expectation of the targets that we had set for ourselves, and then we look at the way the segment evolves, and then we get the new cars accordingly.
So just to understand with CBUs, what is the strategy? Do you just get them in batches? Is it continuous? Because there seems to be even sometimes a stop-start kind of situation, where you get batches, then maybe after 6 months another batch. So just wanted to understand, what the strategy is with these
So
CBUs.
basically, I would say go with the customer feedback. And as I mentioned about the Golf GTI, when we ordered the first batch, we opened up the bookings, and then we immediately had to order the second batch. And I wish we had ordered the third batch at
Right.
that point in time. So it's all evolving market demand of the customers, and we continue to fulfill the demand in line with the
Right.
requirements that fixed.
So what you're saying is we can expect a third batch of the GTI when if there is enough demand there.
Yes.
And any idea when that would be? Would 26 be when we could expect bookings for that to open,
So
or
certainly not for this year.
right?
And depending, as I said, depending on how we get the response from the customers, you can expect something coming in the near future.
Okay. And Nitin, just to kind of wrap up, as you said, you talked about the Volkswagen brand, the legacy. Obviously, you've had icons like the Beetle, the Golf. Uh, how do you differentiate Volkswagen in India? Because there's always this problem where let's say sometimes the brands get into a discounting situation, and it's treated like more as a product and not so much as a brand. So how do you kind of plan to differentiate Volkswagen from, let's say, the other brands out there? Even there's Skoda, there's Hyundai, there's so many of them.
So I think the important word here is differentiation, and Volkswagen differentiates itself on various different parameters that I had mentioned earlier as well, which of course is the build, the German engineering, the performance of the car, the drivability of the car, and the Volkswagen customers understand what they're going for. And it's a love brand. Our expectation would be in the long term to work on getting this aspirational premium image of the car and the brand moving up. Along with that, I think it's a journey of the customer. We have a loyal base of customers from the time we have come in the country. Since inception, almost 690,000 cars on the road. And we have our set of buyers who make this brand what Volkswagen is today. And then the partners and the team members who have been working with the brand, continuous engagement with them to understand what should be the policy framework that should meet the customer expectation, the customer delight, and ensuring that we have a sustainable business growth. So
Right.
those are the areas that we would say we differentiate ourselves to make ourselves unique and then aspirational.
And Nitin, 2026 is going to be an important year for you. It's going to be your first full year as head of the brand. Also, some important launches, some important refreshes coming. And you've got let's say, I think it's no secret that the Tyron's going to be there, 7-seater. So 2026 with these models and maybe refreshes, could it be one of your big years? And you've also got the GST momentum behind you.
Yes, absolutely. I think it is. I would start with the GST momentum. As I said, from short term, medium term, and long term, we see a very positive reform being kicking in now, and we can see the immediate responses. And we expect this will also continue for the future across the industry, across the segments. That's really positive. Along with that, we have our offerings which are clearly demarcated in form of SUVs and sedan and the performance cars. So we continue to work with those products of ours to ensure that we have a sustainable business growth, stable base, and delighted customers.
Right. Wish you all the best
Thank
and
you very much, Hormazd.
congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.